arms deal investigation has been closed, but the DA says a Hawks memorandum on the decision points to serious misinformation. 30 years since the discovery of HIV, the health minister believes an AIDS-free generation is possible. And a new era for cricket as Gary Kirsten is named Proteas coach, assisted by Alan Donald and Russell Domingo.
Thank you, everybody.
This is E-News Prime Time. Good evening. The investigation into the government's controversial multi-billion rand arms deal is not dead. The probe officially closed more than 6 months ago, but Parliament's Public Accounts Watchdog Committee has not ruled out that it will continue to examine the matter. Today, the DA asked SCOPA to compel Hawks Chief Anwar Dramat to appear and give reasons for the termination of the investigation. Some believe the move was based contradictory and factually inaccurate information.
An investigation that dragged on for a decade, and when it was canned last year, many questions were still left unanswered. The NPA concluded that given the information it was provided, it was not possible to prosecute anybody. But the DA is not letting the matter rest. It says that Hawks document it obtained through the Promotion to Access to Information Act raises serious questions about the decision. In a memo, General Hans Maynier says that some of the suspects had died and that the police struggled to obtain confidential information. But the DA says this is all untrue and that the memo doesn't refer to any specific suspects, witnesses, dates or evidence.
What I would like is for General Anwar Dramat, who's the head of the Hawks, to be summoned to SCOPA to explain why it is the investigation into the arms deal was terminated. Because if you look at this memo, it certainly does not provide a compelling case to close the investigation.
SCOPA Chairman Themba Godi says the Hawks have failed to respond to requests for further explanation and says he hopes the memorandum will shed more light.
We'll process it, we'll have a look at the content, we'll have a look at the context, and then we will as soon as possible take a decision in terms of what we'll do with it.
Hawks spokesperson Macintosh Polela says the memorandum was not the sole basis for the closure of the investigation and that it was merely a summary of a number of consultations.
It's been 30 years since the human immunodeficiency virus was first discovered. In 2009, more than 5.6 million people were living with HIV/AIDS in South Africa, more than in any other country. But as the world marks the discovery of the virus, health experts, despite the high infection rate, South Africa is also leading the way in the fight against the pandemic.
There are 1,000 new HIV infections in South Africa every day, with one of the highest infection rates amongst teenage girls. It's estimated that 1 in every 3 women between the ages of 25 and 29 and over a quarter of men aged between 30 and 34 are infected with HIV. But as shocking as these numbers are, AIDS activists believe government is showing the political will to tackle the pandemic head-on.
Within 2 or 3 years, we have grown the largest treatment program of any country in the world. It's now said that about 1.5 million people have started treatment in South Africa. We have one of the biggest programs of voluntary medical male circumcision. We have certainly the biggest program that has ever taken place in history on